Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Janchi Show with KJ, Nathan, and Patrick. This is KJ filling in for Nathan, who is filling in for Patrick, who is filling in for me. Welcome. Fine, I'll turn up my microphone. Gosh, I actually was thinking I might need to do that anyways. It's fine. It'll happen in the edit. Nope, I can't turn it up anymore. Oh, wait. I can turn it up just a little bit more. But not that much more. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Great.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by three Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Janchi Show. This is your boys, KJ, Nathan, and Patrick, coming to you live / not live, because when is a podcast ever live? A podcast is live when you're watching it live, and
Live
that is a thing that we have done and is a thing that we might do again. Fellas, how you doing?
Good.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having
Nice.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for
appreciate you
opening
having
your
me on.
podcast
Welcome
to
back.
me to guest host, where you're the guest and I'm the host, but originally, whatever. It's fine. Let's see what's going on today. As we record this, it is my wife's birthday. She and I are the same age once again, so that's fun.
Happy
As
birthday,
far
Sarah.
Sarah, happy birthday. As far as birthdays go, not a great one. Because last night our air conditioning died and we spent basically all day trying to get it fixed because it's been over 100 degrees for like the past week, and it will continue to be over 100 degrees for the next week, and that is obscene.
Yes.
That's rough.
When we moved
rough,
here
man.
last year, it was like not that hot, and I was like, shouldn't it get hotter than this?
Oh, yeah,
And
jinxed
here we
it.
are. It's awful.
You
No,
called it out.
I was like,
You said,
I
come
bet
on,
this-
Texas. Show me your
Yeah.
heat.
Yeah. And Texas
Show
is
me
like,
your
oh, we're
heat."
packing.
Oh, you just
Yeah,
wait 1
wrong.
year.
See, that could
Yep.
go. Yeah, that could
1
go
year from
either
now,
direction.
you're really going to regret challenging me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
said
So-
Texas Heat.
Also, my car air conditioning is out, so it's
Oh,
just
Damn.
dang.
yeah,
You
it's
just
great.
running on sweat.
Yeah, you want me to send you some fans? What
No,
are
I
you
just need
using?
someone to give me some like freaking kimchi jjigae or something, and just sweat it all
Sweat
out
it all out.
until
Till
I
hot. Yeah.
can't sweat anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Say hello to the dog days of summer. How's the weather in y'all's area? Is it hot for you, or is it just Texas that's really feeling the heat wave?
It is hot here in
I was gonna
Indiana.
say, I think it's hot
84
everywhere.
right now, which is actually a little bit cooler than it's been. We've been hitting low to mid 90s for a few weeks.
That's
Grass is
still
not
pretty
growing.
Good.
I've been upset about that. No grass to mow. Which
Do
actually
you
I've
like
been
mowing
like,
grass?
I love to mow the grass. I love it.
Interesting.
It's one of my
All right.
favorite things
I
to do
hate
in the
it.
outdoors.
Sounds
That's
deeply
the number one thing I'm
Midwestern of
allergic
you.
to is grass.
I had a good. I mean, I wrote I wrote a long thing about it, and I just never released it. Well, one day I will.
Wait, you wrote like along like an Instagram post or something?
About
like
grass.
for
no,
your
I wrote
newsletter?
like for my newsletter. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like mowing. It's honestly like a deep tie to my adoptive family and like my dad specifically. But
Yeah, okay.
I did not end up releasing it. I will release it someday, just not today.
Sure. That's really funny.
Or
I
on
mean,
this
it makes
podcast
sense,
is what I was saying.
or on you'll just take a minute and just read it.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. Not right now.
Grass,
Maybe
a
I'll
short
call in
story
and leave it on a
by
voicemail
Patrick
in
and the
installments. So we can play it a series where we draw that
Yeah,
out.
but I'm gonna start in the middle.
Oh, okay.
And
You're
then
gonna
we'll have
take
to-
creative liberty and
We'll have to
rearrange the
piece it
story
together. Yeah,
It's,
then it'll
it's
become a
now
murder
choose your own
podcast.
adventure.
yeah.
It's just gonna jump around.
A real bandersnatch of the whole situation.
Well, it is 97 in Colorado, so yes, it's still
Damn.
still hot out here as well. So
Yeah.
97.
lucky my office is in the basement, so it's at least 3 degrees cooler down here. So I
Nice.
appreciate that.
Are you like you're like up in the like a higher elevation too, right?
Yes,
Where
the
you
Mile
are.
High City.
So it's
We
a
are a
crisp
mile.
97. It's not a muggy, humid 97.
Right. It's kind of dry, but not bad.
Oh
I'm
man,
staying
this
inside.
is such great podcasting material. But actually, I often am charmed and humored by like how earnestly my dad likes talking about weather. Like wherever, especially when we lived in different places, he'd be like, "How's the weather there? Like, just tell me about it." All right, sure. I don't know. That feels like a deeply American thing, but maybe it's just a human thing. I don't know.
No, I get it because I mean that's what the mowing thing is with my dad. Like, we don't have a ton of things in common. I don't think at the end of the
The
day, but
grass.
that's like one of them. And because I don't know, it's just something that we did together for a really long time, and then even after we grew apart, just from like literal physical distance, like that was one thing that we could always like either talk about or just know that we were doing, or just like kind of just it's the comfortability of like I don't know, it's weird, it's but that's I don't know, I just did it for a really long time, and I like the satisfaction that you get at the end of it, like a good mow, like a straight line, I think. And
It's an honest
just
day's work.
yeah, I don't know. And it's just I don't know, but it's a tie that I have with my adoptive father that I don't have like a ton of things in common with him. So
Yeah.
I don't really talk about that a lot, and I don't really talk about my relationship with him a lot. Like we're close, but I don't know. It's just not something
This
that
is
I
where
really talk
Patrick
about.
begins reading his article that he wrote.
You're kind of
No.
you're kind of pulling little bits
That
and
was
pieces
the-
out of them. I think.
I
That was the
shared as
prequel.
much as
The
I wanted to
preamble.
share for now.
We, the people
Moving
of
on.
the Armstrong family, in
Moving
order to
on.
form a more perfect family,
It's like
establish.
I'm curious if you like
justice.
call them up. You mowing your grass yet? Yeah, I'm mowing my grass. What about you? Yeah, I'm mowing my grass too. Like,
I mean, I can't
Like
mow
you
it right now.
coordinating.
It's too damn hot and dry out here. No rain. We got
This is
rain, and I
amazing.
think the grass got shorter.
isn't your
I don't
sprinkler
know what
system
happened.
on? Don't you have like a
We
sprinkler?
don't have I rent this house,
Oh, that's
I also
true.
do not have a sprinkler system.
Yeah,
and he
okay.
owns his house.
That's true.
Hmm.
I'm too busy
We can't
paying
all
for
have
everything else that's
sprinkler
breaking.
systems.
Yeah, we can't all have
Man.
basements, Nathan. Gosh.
It's okay. Watering grass is overrated. Whatever.
Yeah, said
Should
everyone
go-
in LA. That's why they all have just dirt and gravel.
Yeah.
They're like, look at my succulents that thrive in the
Exactly.
desert.
Yep. Hey,
They're
when I was in
technically
Portland
green.
a couple weeks ago, now their front yards are something to see. There's very little grass and mostly just wild flowers and plants. It looks like it's a
Where at? In
very
Portland?
overgrown. Portland. Like every front yard literally looks like somebody else's backyard. If that makes sense. Like Shalice will back me up on that. Yeah, Shalice.
I was trying to
All
think if I've ever been to Portland. I think I have one time
Really?
for a music festival, I believe. See, I told you I was
Yeah.
having trouble speaking today. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just like mumbling it out.
Yeah, no, he went to Purdue. I saw your shirt. He was like, he went to Purdue for Austin City Limits in Portland, Oregon. So,
That's exactly what happened.
yeah.
They have a lot
Crushed
of
End of
music
story. End of show.
So I wanted to just, I know that this has been like burning on a lot of listeners' minds. I wanted to just follow up briefly on For All Mankind that they, season 2, they wrapped up the adoption arc. And I know that we had talked about it. And I haven't watched any of season 3 yet, which is currently releasing. But I know I was like, oh yeah, like the way that they kind of show her story is really good and powerful. But then basically the story wraps up quickly because it's not like she's not a main
not
character.
central to
she's a
the-
side
yeah.
piece. Yeah. So it's
side,
like a
side piece.
that's probably the best way to
side
say that, right? Yeah, that's fine. But I, like even though she's not like the focal point of the story of the show, like she's not part of the main cast, I still appreciated like the care that was given to at least that initial part, even though like the rest of it like wrapped up quickly. But I know Sarah was like, how did you feel about that? And like she heard us talking about it on the show and whatever. And I was like, yeah, I mean, initially it was good, and then it just had to move on because that doesn't serve the plot of the whole show. But I think like it just made me like really think about what content could look like that does center adoptees and like does kind of like create that journey, like just visually. Like I don't see, well, I've seen a movie that centers adoptees sort of, but beyond that, like not really seen that moment, and like have like time jumps and things. I don't know. It was just
right.
It's like, that's not what I want to talk about today. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, I was
Also,
going to
if
be
you
my
have-
question to
yeah.
you was what you took away from it, but that obviously you just answered it.
No, it's just, it was just like, it was cool. It made me, it's like, I think especially because I'm not doing it as much, I really want to get back into making films and making like shorts and things like that. And obviously it's very difficult to do, but just like watching a lot of good stuff, because TV right now is super good. I'm just like, I think I could do this maybe if I had more time and also more money, any money really that wasn't being burned by the house.
Sure.
But so I was just like, oh yeah, like that's a big medium, I think, with maybe the largest barrier for entry, because it requires like so much skill and so like a lot of people. But like a creative, like a fiction piece around adoptees, or like an allegory for adoption, not just like a documentary about adoptees or those kinds of things. So yeah. Okay, so what we wanted to talk about today, as I was falling asleep the other night, I was like
the complete opposite.
I know.
Yes. Guys, I'm not perfect. I was reflecting on this wedding that I went to recently up in Minnesota, and had a lot of fun, and but while I was there, it took me a minute to get into the dancing, which was weird. Part of it, I
didn't look like it. Come on.
Part of it,
good highlight.
I feel like that was fun. Yeah. Is I don't think the DJ is super good. Part of it is I'm really tired of going to white people weddings and like listening to white people music, which mostly is at this point is just like people yelling at punk rock. Not that I have anything against punk rock, not that I have anything against it being played at weddings, but just like when a dance floor opens with like "Come On Eileen," or like people like get all super hyped for Mr. Brightside, or I don't know, like there's just like certain moments. Not that Dancing Queen isn't also super white, but
I don't know if "Come On Eileen" is a punk rock song.
No, it's a white people song.
Okay,
it's just
all
like
right.
Yeah. But also, punk rock is like definitely a white people song.
Genre.
A white people genre. Yeah, that's fine.
I would say
I'm
that
good
there are
at
probably
talking.
people that would argue with that, but I see where you're coming from.
En masse, when people get up and dance to it, you know. I don't know that any person of color would like choose punk rock to dance to per se. So anyways,
sorry, I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate.
You don't count right now. You weren't raised in that culture.
I feel bad.
No, that's actually, it's specifically your wedding that I was like, I need to caveat this, but also I was just like, whatever.
We were just heavy on it.
The whole point of me saying this is typically I love to dance. I need no encouragement to dance, whatever. And as the wedding was going and we're getting into the evening, I was like, I don't know how to do this anymore. And I didn't know if that was like a COVID thing or what. But I think generally I have found, and this is what I want to talk to you guys about, I found that I'm worse at expressing myself through any medium in all areas of life after coming out of the fog. Like I'm bad. Me bad. So
words hard.
You thoughts.
Words hard.
Turn.
What? Thank you.
Patrick, go.
What?
I definitely think that's a valid point or place to be. I think that for me, I've always had trouble expressing who I truly was, I think, because I didn't know who that was. And so I always, like I said, I use this quote a lot, but like I'm an introvert playing an extrovert. And so I would put on this extroverted self, and that was who I was and how I would express myself in different ways, whether it's like being the joke or doing whatever, being loud, as y'all know of and about. I don't know what I'm saying. I think after coming out of the fog, it's not necessarily, I don't think I'm worse at expressing myself. I think I express myself differently in a more truer sense.
So you're actually better at expressing yourself after coming out of the fog.
But I don't know if I'm better at it either, because I think I'm still finding my footing in that. in that expression. I think that I think it makes sense because it kind of puts thoughts in your head to be worse. I think it makes sense to be worse or to get worse at it because you're now thinking about your life differently, and it's kind of something that doesn't turn off once the switch is flipped. You can, like we talk about, you can step back into the fog if you want, but at the end of the day, like the switch has been flipped. Like that's going to continue to affect your perspective and your mindset. So when you go to express yourself, even in the ways that you felt that you did before, like there's still that, it's not taint, but it's that it's still just something else there that's just there affecting the way that you're thinking about things, the way that you're feeling in a situation. And that can cause anxiety, confusion, depression, whatever, a lot of different mental blockers that can make you struggle with trying to express yourself. So I totally get it. And I wasn't trying to say that I'm just like, it made me better at it. I think it's just different because I still struggle in those ways too a lot of times. It's just different now.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I kind of feel like kind of what you're saying as something new in a way, because we're coming out of the fog. We have like new information, new stories to listen to, just new, ways of looking at life and stuff. And when you ever start something new, you're usually a little rusty at it. You're not as good at it. You're not as,
you're not as comfortable. This is
comfortable,
change,
yeah.
And change
Yeah,
is
arguably when you start something new, you're a rookie.
Exactly.
You're not picking it back up. You're picking it up.
You're picking it for the first time.
So that's what I would assume. It's not really you're worse at it. You're just not,
there is no skill.
Efficient.
You're just
or
building up.
Proficient at it. Yeah, exactly. So I think for me, I'm the more I go through things now, the more sensitive I feel I am, and I want to make sure that I am not saying anything that is harmful or kind of back in my old ways of saying something. Like I want to make sure that I'm at least learning from maybe my past mistakes and trying to be just a little bit more considerate or open-minded or all those things that kind of come with it for ourselves. So that's for me.
How dare you try to be a better person? How dare you? You think you're better than me?
Dare you? Sorry. You think you're better than me?
You think you're better than me?
Oh, you think you're better than me? It does make it easier to listen to when the laugh track is there. It makes it easier to digest. It lets me know that it's funny, so I can laugh.
Well, I can just give you courtesy laughs from now on.
No, that's it. But if without the laugh track, it's just uncomfortable. Like your courtesy laugh, it's like, oh, is he worried? What's going on here?
It's okay.
Anyways,
if Nathan ever gives you a courtesy laugh, I'll just drop in a sad trombone. And you're like, oh no, he didn't mean it.
That's a good reset. So.
No, I think like the language of maybe like closer or further away from who you truly are is maybe a good way of thinking about it. And maybe that's what I'm expressing. Like, I think it's great that for you coming out of the fog, like but before fog, BF, you felt like you were distant from some part of you and were unable to articulate that. And then after fog, AF, you, I don't know why you like that so much.
Confused with the other AF.
That's fine.
I'm living my life AF.
You're closer. That should be a t-shirt. Let's make that one the t-shirt.
That should be a t-shirt. 100%. Right? Percent? See, I can't talk today.
100%. No, but after coming out of the fog, you feel closer to that. And then like, even though you might be unfamiliar with how to express where you're at, like you feel more true to yourself. Sure. I think for me, like my hang up was maybe it was the fact that I was in like a very white space. Like, because also that night, Sarah was like, are you the only person of color here? I was like, I think so. By the end of the night, I saw one other person. I was like, all right, so just me and you, guy. But it was just like, so it was just weird. So I feel like I know who I am. And when I'm with adoptees and with Asian adoptees and maybe even just like Asian Americans and kind of broadly people of color in America, I feel pretty comfortable in that space. And it was just, there was something about like being there and like doing this rhythm of like dancing and celebrating whatever. I would just like, there was some type of hang up in myself that like didn't allow me to fully enjoy the moment, fully enter into the moment. I don't know. And so that was just like a weird moment. But I think that that carries out in a lot of other areas too, where I just generally feel like I'm worse at expressing myself than I
Well,
was before.
especially in that situation, and hearing you explain it like that helped me, I think, understand. It is like after coming out of the fog, like I said before, you're thinking about
AF.
things in that way, in the AF way. You're having this thing that's always kind of there, and that one of the things that you're thinking about, or for a lot of us to start thinking about, is whiteness and how that has kind of taken over who we were at some point or in some way. And so after coming out of the fog, you're thinking about that. So when we find ourselves in majority white spaces, especially when we're confronting that, especially when we're trying to, live in a more anti-racist way, in a way that's more inclusive and equitable for everyone, you get uncomfortable. And it does probably feel much harder to express yourself. I resonate with it because when you explained it like that, I'm like, oh, 100% have felt that all the time when I go home. Like you used to go home and like, I don't even say where I'm from anymore. I try to not say, oh, I'm from Rensselaer, or I'm trying to say I grew up in, or this is where I grew up. Just because, and it's not because I want to I'm like ashamed of it or anything, but it's because truthfully, that's where I grew up. I'm really from Korea, I'm really from somewhere else. And like having been made aware of that fact over and over again my whole life, but almost essentially denying it, and turning away from it, that was so internalized. When you come out of the fog, you start to deconstruct all of that and unpack that. And so every time you go back into those spaces, that little voice in your head that's saying it's whatever it's saying to you, that makes you feel like, oh shit, I don't want to necessarily go through this motion again. Or I don't want to do it as often or as frequent as, I'm used to doing it, because you're aware now that something is different and it always has been. And, certain people are going to be with you and getting it and make it feel like, hey, it is different and that's okay. Like it's still cool, and we're working too. Like that's going to happen. But then you're going to have a bunch of people who just have no clue and are just continue to go through the motion and don't get why you're not going through the motion with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, were you going to say something, Nathan?
No.
No, I just wanted to sidebar really quickly and say the fact that you are reclaiming that language, I think, is really powerful and important and indicative of where your mindset is and where you've grown, I think, AF. Because like it's just because like to say, no, I'm from Korea, and the shift in I think thinking of Korea as like your, not like your hometown per se, but like kind of your, like your roots, like I think is really monumental. And oftentimes language is like it's the first thing that changes and the last thing that changes, and when you're picking up a new identity, sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, this is it, and this is what I want to be. And sometimes when you're leaving an identity, it's like the last thing to go. And I think like in this case, it sounds like you're like really truly leaving this kind of identity of whoever you were before, and like owning where you are now and owning who you are now. And I think that's really powerful. And I just wanted to I really wanted to highlight that, because that's a really subtle thing to just say like, no, I'm from Korea. I grew up in this place, but I'm from Korea, right? That I think is like, if as somebody who listens to how other people, as somebody who listens to how other people talk and express themselves, like that is a really powerful, like little thing to pick up on that tells me a lot about who a person is. And so, I think even for an adoptee trying to step into that, like try shifting your language a little bit and see what that does to how you think about yourself.
Sure. And well, I really appreciate you saying that. I think that I feel like I've been trying to do that a lot for probably 5 or 6 months now. And I think this is the first time I've ever mentioned it on the show, that shift in language. And I do want to clarify that at like hometown specifically, like that's something I'm trying to not say. And again, say the town I grew up in. However, I still believe and feel that I am a child of Indiana, a product of Indiana, essentially, in America, and a child of Rensselaer, as much as I am a child of Korea and a child of Asia. And I don't know what that sound was. It sounded like some leaves were getting blown, even though it's super dry and there's no leaves on the ground.
No, it's probably just a high schooler on an ATV.
But like at this, I'm not, I don't think I'm necessarily leaving who I was behind. I think I've embraced that person, who I was before, and kind of put to bed a lot of the things that I struggled with. Not everything, but a lot of things that I struggled with for a long time. And one of those things is how I identify my identity with like geographical location. And so, and how that plays into my identity. We're laughing at Ellie.
Yeah,
my cat
KJ
has
been sharing the screen with his cat now. I feel that I've used that language before in the past, but it wasn't because I was trying to clarify, I don't know, more accurately where I was from. I feel I was doing it because of that age-old, like, stereotypic question that some people always ask. You know, Asians.
No, where are you really from?
Where are you from? Where are you really from?
Right. Where are you from? Where are you from?
Exactly. Where are you from? But I've answered it before in that context, saying I was raised in Oklahoma, but I'm from Korea. Yeah. And I've answered it that way because of that comment I just didn't want to go into, you know, those kinds of discussions with a person sometimes who I didn't know or who I just didn't want to, you know, give my entire life story to. So I'm curious if others have done that too.
I've done the opposite.
Reason.
Oh yeah, actually though, I used to be like would get mad and be like, no, I'm from Rensselaer, like I'm from here. Like, and really, really, like, dig my feet in about it. And, like, when I think about those times now, I'm like, how much did I hate who I actually was to do that? To, like, really, to not even be willing to go and be like, no, and, like, try to explain it like you did, you know, but to just really be like, how much dislike did I have for myself and my identity as an Asian person and a Korean person to just completely deny it in the face of somebody trying to get at it, even if it was racist or well-intentioned, whatever the case was, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's what I mean. Where, like, for you, it's like you're leaving that kind of singular identity of like, I'm one person and not this other person, and you're embracing the plurality of who you are, right? And that's what I mean, where I think like, and I think that type of language shift is significant as opposed to Nathan, like just the like, I'm from Korea, I'm adopted, I was raised in Oklahoma, or I was raised in Dallas, or, you know, whatever. Like, I think most transracial adoptees and transnational adoptees have done some version of that, like whatever, just move on, right? Because this is
try to get it all out there so that there's not more questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I think, but to offer uninvited, to just say like, oh, I was like, to intentionally think this way, and then to offer uninvited, like I was raised in Rensselaer, or, you know, whatever, but just say that instead of like having to offer any other qualifier or say like, I'm from this place, because for you, like the person speaking, you know, that to say you're from this area is not the whole truth. And like, I think that's what I mean about like, it's a really subtle language shift of a person intentionally wrestling with a plurality of identities as opposed to just like one or the other kind of thing. And that actually leads me to something else that I want to talk about that I think is interesting. So there's this book that I heard that just dropped. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's called Rise, A Pop History of Asian America from the 90s to Now by Jeff Yang, Philip Yu, and Philip Wang.
Send me that when you're done.
Yang, Yu, and Wang. It's an audiobook. So
share that with me when you're done.
Okay. But it's so the two of the authors are the people that do Angry Asian Man. And I heard about it on another podcast called Yo's is Racist, which is a fantastic one. If you don't listen to it, you should probably give it a listen.
You've only mentioned it about 100 times on the show here.
I honestly,
I love it too. I love it too, but
it's basically my how to be a good person of color playbook. So
you can go with worse ones for sure.
How to think through some of that stuff. In a funny way. But so they talk about this book and have the author on or whatever. And I was just like, oh, this is really exciting. But in that conversation, they talk about the uniqueness of Asian America as an identity. Because we literally know the first recorded instance of it being used. We know why it was created. We know all these things. Asian American, they argue, whatever they say on the show, that Asian American, maybe more than any other identity, is one that you opt into. And I thought that was really interesting. And I was curious to see how that resonated with y'all. Because when I heard that, I was like, oh, that super makes sense to me. And I wish I realized I could just do that earlier.
I get it. I think it makes a lot of sense because there are, I would say, a fair amount of Asian immigrants whose kids might identify as Asian American, but who they themselves do not, even though I would probably say that they are Asian American. And so and again, that term Asian American came up as a political thing, specifically to help us consolidate power, to be political power specifically. And so it makes sense to be like, we created this for ourselves in order to protect and support our full community, even though at first it might have felt like it only covered, 3, 4, 5 different groups. As we think about Asia, a lot of us even then probably thinking about East Asian. But anyways, well, again, actually that does play into now how other groups can choose to whether or not they want to identify as Asian American, because that debate has been going on, I feel like, or at least brought back to the forefront. And I think I probably need to do a little bit more reading up on that as I'm just thinking about it just now.
And then on top of that, a lot of people also define what generation they are as well. So they'll go first, second, third, fourth generation. It seems to be another thing that some people want to define and some people don't.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because I was like, oh man, I don't know. I feel like a lot of my early life I spent wrestling with am I Asian enough? Am I Asian at all? Do I, whatever, and just rolling with the generally just subtly racist idea of what it meant to be Asian, but it was okay because I was Asian, so it hit different. But because I was raised as a white person, it was still kind of subtly racist of, whatever that whole,
right.
I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Wow, that literally just re-wrinkled my brain. What am I saying? I'm saying that, yeah, so I wish that somebody had told younger me that was an identity that I could just opt into.
Right.
In some kind of ways. Because, yeah, there are so many other Asian folks who might only look after their own, people in terms of, what country they're originally from. Or their parents are from or whatever, that they are Asian and American, but would not themselves identify as Asian American, and other Asian Americans would be like, what? No, they might be Chinese American, but they're only Chinese American.
Right.
Or they might be, Korean American, but they're only Korean American. They're not really broadly Asian American. So yeah, I don't know. I was just in terms of opting into an identity, I was like, oh, I wish I had known that sooner.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like I definitely opted into it for sure. Because as I talked about before, just denying my Asian identity completely and my Korean ethnicity completely left me as identifying as solely American, and maybe adopted because I was just people, you just have to answer the questions because you have no language to articulate how that is fucking harmful to me. But yeah, I feel like thinking about it just in my own life, I had to opt into wanting to be considered Asian American and then considering myself to be that. And so, yeah. And at the end of the day, I get to why people would want why people want to be solely Chinese American or solely Korean American or Indian American or Sikh American. I get it because race is just the construct that kind of, and again, as the term Asian American gives us one umbrella to consolidate our power under, it does and can or a lot of times leave out a ton of people who don't feel that way. And so, we like the pros and then the cons. And I don't know if I don't know what I'm saying. I'm also stumbling. But anyways, that's what
I'm curious
for.
if people, though, they specify that just for pride in their heritage in their country. Instead of just lumping it into Asian American, they want specifically to be known that it's Chinese, Korean, or Indian American as well, because they have more
I totally
pride.
Did and probably still do. Honestly, I'm like very proud to be Korean, even though I'm like at the same time I'm like, am I Korean?
You question it, but your pride is unquestionable.
I'm proud to be a Korean, where at least I know I'm free.
How dare you appropriate that American song?
It'll proudly stand up.
Yeah, I did hear that on 4th of July.
At the drone show.
The drone show. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I also did not. Yeah. I also did not.
I heard it the previous 4th of July, and I was like, I'm not here for this, Mom.
You know what I think is very interesting about these conversations that we've been having today is that as of this recording, not only is it Sarah's birthday, but 2 years ago on this date, we had our very first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap. For real? Like on this date?
On this day, yeah. July 14th. I think it's really interesting because I can remember, but I also can't remember how little I knew what I was talking about when we first started to talk. We first started to do all this, not only just as a podcaster and just speaking in general, but like literally talking about our experiences as adoptees or as Asian people or Koreans. Like I had no idea what I was talking about, and now we're here talking about the subtle shifts in language that we're making in our journeys to, fully understand and accept and embrace ourselves. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think you guys are a lot more vocal than our first meeting. That's for sure.
I feel like, and I say this, but I feel like the first meeting came away from that like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, I don't think we're gonna do the show. Like, I don't know. Like, I just felt very awkwardly put together.
It was a little awkward.
We need to see if Jerry happened to record that. He probably didn't.
He's saving that,
but
for
like,
a special,
I would love to
have feature someday.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to.
I'm just in a tie and a shirt
in
my car.
Yeah,
that's right.
In the parking lot of my work at lunch.
Like, who is this guy?
Who is this fool?
Yikes.
And what is he doing here?
And every meeting after that, you were always eating or walking somewhere.
I was always at lunch because I was working at that job I never told you guys about and still haven't.
I know. We still don't know what it is.
Please.
But yeah, I just think I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you brought that conversation up because it just highlights, how far we've come in 2 years. We haven't been doing the shoes.
The shoes.
Ooh,
We've been doing shoes.
I am out of here. See, it lets people know that they should laugh. The audience right now is laughing because they know they should.
Oh
God, that's the worst laugh track ever.
I don't
the
even
fact
remember
that
what I was saying.
ends with someone clearing their throat loud. I'm like, whoa, sir, there is a global pandemic going on. I'd be like, oh, don't worry.
He did not have
this was
his mask
filmed
on. I heard it.
30 years before that happened.
I don't remember what I was saying, so we can move on.
All right.
Sentimental
food time?
moment.
What? Sure.
Oh,
yeah. Now that you found it.
Yeah, now that I found the food. I have found the food.
All right.
Found the food.
Let's take a break. And yeah, we're jumping in. Hello, everybody. It's a little bonus episode of me. Now that I've found my snacks, I'm jumping in with that waffle cone thing where I described it so good, it upped people's ratings, even though I hadn't had it.
It did do that.
Oh, this tastes nothing like a waffle cone. No, that's not true. Wait, hold on. Wait.
That is not true what you said.
Hold on. Wait.
What?
No, it doesn't taste like a waffle cone.
What does it taste like?
It definitely tastes like a biscuit.
Nah.
Sorry. I'll be more American. It tastes like a cookie, like a short cookie, like a.
Well, I already ate mine, so I can't go back and compare.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like, you know, this. I think is it Pillsbury or Toll House cookies that like you just like they just like come out in a circle and you just stick them in the oven.
Oh no.
Like a snickerdoodle or something?
I don't know, like during Halloween they have like a pumpkin on. Those like really simple,
just sugar cookies.
Sugar cookies, yeah.
Oh, sugar cookie.
Or they're like squares or something.
Crunchy.
Whatever.
I did not think it
Sugar
tasted like a sugar cookie.
It reminds
Not
me
as
of that, but it's been like overbaked a little bit, so it's got that like, yeah, I don't know. It's good. I really like it, but
I thought they were tasty.
Well, you gave it a 4.75
I think I gave it
or something.
I gave it a
3.75.
3.75
You did.
with an option to raise it to a 4 once I had it.
Did you give it that 4 optional?
Yeah. It smells really sweet is the thing. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, no, okay. I think this is good. I'm going to give it a 4.25 actually. Maybe it's because I'm hungry, but I think it's really, really good. There's no classic waffle flavor, waffle cone flavor, but it's good.
Oh,
All right. That was me reviewing an old snack.
Welcome back to the food
Thank you.
portion. I didn't know if we were jumping into it. KJ's found his snacks.
We've already jumped in.
Yeah, we've been jumping into it. KJ's already been snacking on the previous snack, but
You can check that out right before this.
yeah.
You probably just heard it because why would you do that to yourself?
Why would you skip? Because we don't.
Like, I'm gonna skip ahead
I
3
have not
minutes.
been putting the things in there anymore. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on. What are we eating today, guys?
Nongshim taco chips.
Nongshim.
Read the Korean.
I did.
Nongshim.
I can't
No,
read
read the
it.
Korean.
I
Yeah, you
can't
can.
read it.
Taco.
You can.
I
Get your
have not been
flashcards out.
practicing. I've been practicing
gosh.
less.
Practice
Honestly, I
right
feel like
now.
I forgot.
Says octopus.
What?
I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
He's making a
little
guess
cute.
because
There's a cute octopus
is there
right next
on
to
the
it.
bag.
Oh, right. I'm thinking of the word for squid, but it's not squid. So
Oh, this is best before the best buy day is my grandma's birthday. October 13th.
shout out your grandma.
Shout out my grandma.
I like the octopus on the front. However, I do not know any octopus that have a horn as a nose like that.
Good one.
He's clearly a chef. He's got his little chef
he
hat.
does have his little hat and a
And the
little tie. Yep. And he's holding up these
And I don't know
chips
why
on
we're
sticks.
gendering this octopus. I don't want to say it's a he, a him, they. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it
go
is
with
a
they.
But these are taco chips, which is seafood flavor. However, isn't taco? Is that a word for octopus or squid?
So the Korean says chakalchi, which that might be. Let me look it up. But I actually think it might be a callback based on the design. It might actually be a callback to like, maybe this is wrong, but to takoyaki.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because that's an octopus ball, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So taco.
Wait, do we have those?
Yeah, taco in Japanese means octopus. So,
All right.
you go.
Octopus chips.
which, by the way, looking at the ingredient, does contain octopus. It also
Smells like
contains
octopus.
corvina, anchovy, cuttlefish, and pollock. Pollock.
It does not taste like it smells.
And
What
tastes
does it
good.
smell like?
It's
It
very
smells like
seafoody,
octopus, but it tastes like a bugle.
Ooh,
It smells like octopus, but tastes like a bugle.
it. Oh
We'll
my
try
gosh.
one.
Okay, I don't like the smell, and I'll tell you what it smells like before I eat it. Maybe I shouldn't tell you that before I eat it, but it smells like the flakes
What are you about to say?
of fish food that you put, that you feed the fish. Little flakes.
I didn't know
Wow.
what you were going to say.
Have you
That's
ever
not what it was.
fed fish before? That sometimes they have the little flaky seafood things. I
I
don't know.
stand by what I said.
It's definitely got a.
It's a seafood flavor.
Yeah, it's a seafood smell.
It doesn't taste like what it
doesn't taste
like
like seafood though. It's very subtle, actually.
Tastes like a bugle.
Kind of. It tastes like wheat. A wheat chip.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Huh. Very airy.
It smells like octopus and tastes like a bugle. This man loves to cut his grass. Amazing.
Dude,
Maybe that's
how
why the
dare you
octopus
use
is
mowing the lawn
bugling.
as a joke against me?
What?
How
Listen, it's
dare
a statement about who you are.
How dare thee?
Okay. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not hating
I
these.
just go like this. I just plug my nose and then I. Oh.
Yeah, the smell is definitely worse than the taste.
I think it's pretty similar to shrimp crackers. Like if you like those original Nongchem shrimp crackers, you're gonna like this.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's the same crunchiness. It's the same subtlety of flavor. It's the same texture. It's just a slightly different flavor.
And to the listeners, it's a
shape.
giant fish-looking shape. It almost looks like a giant goldfish cracker.
Yeah, but that's
flatter.
It's not puffy like a goldfish.
Right.
It looks
It's
like you're supposed to be
half of a
scooping it.
goldfish.
Yeah.
Scooping something
Oh
with
yeah.
this.
What can you scoop with
Ooh.
these things?
Put down some bean dip,
Oh, some French
Some
dip.
chive,
Yeah, French onion.
sour
dip.
cream
French
and onion.
onion. Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Artichoke
I don't know.
dip.
Yeah.
All right. Where are you going? Where are you going with this?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to have a couple more.
There's a hard jump from waffle.
Yeah, I
to
still can't
this.
get past that smell when I sniff the bag.
All right. I already ate all mine.
Dude, stop whiffing the bag.
Just makes me think of my old fish tank.
I like how he said stop whiffing the bag. He immediately put it closer to his face.
Yeah. No one taught Nathan how to waft in science class. He's just going full throttle. Oh, speaking of
Actually, when I waft
Why-
it, it smells more like shrimp.
unrelated but mildly related to wafting, I opened the oven to my new oven, the oven door to my new oven while it was on. And you know how like with newer ovens, especially, I feel like it's like when you open it to like blast your face with a hot air. This time, it burned my nose hairs. It just
Whoa.
went straight in and like singed the ends of my nose hairs.
That's fun.
So that was a terrible experience.
Wow.
That's why
That
you
was-
should always waft.
That was yeah. Don't stick your head in the oven.
Or
just
that's why you always
Opened it
wear
like
a
normal
mask.
person.
A mask.
Yeah, stay indoors, folks.
Goodness.
Say it. Well, you were
Put a
indoors.
Wet
You got to
rag
wear
on
your
head
mask
before
indoors.
you open it or something.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to give this a rating.
Are you ready to give this a rating?
I think these are great. The seasoning is good. It's not like I honestly
It's
I
not
couldn't tell
over
you-
seasoned. Yeah.
Oh, he has a mask on now, ladies and gentlemen. He has a mask on.
What are you talking
Are
about?
you gonna get singed in a second?
It's fine.
I
He's
gotta
about to
clean
go
my
stick his
cat's
head in
litter
the oven.
box. I do actually wear a mask when I clean my cat's litter box. I'm not joking.
Solid.
It
That's
works
hilarious.
so well.
Yeah, it's good. Good note. I mean, I think these are great. I like that they're like bigger pieces, as opposed to like the more like fry shape of a shrimp cracker.
Sure.
But I mean, I love shrimp crackers, and these are easy. These are an easy sell for me. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5.
Wow.
What about you, Nathan?
Well, going the opposite direction of KJ.
Oh, gosh.
I like the flavor.
5.4.
It's not very strong, so I like that because it's not overpowering. It's just like a nice crunchy chip. I, however, do not really like shrimp chips, and these are similar. So I'm gonna say, 3.5.
3.5. Wow.
Not even
3.5
in the opposite direction, just one step down.
Just one lower. I was expecting
I'm
like
right in the
a
middle.
1 or a 2.
I would eat them, but I wouldn't go out of my way to eat them.
5.4 would have been definitely in the opposite direction.
Sure.
That's where I went before the sad music came in. I'm gonna go right down the middle. 4. That initial hit on my nose is just what distracts me from giving it a higher rating. But overall, solid chip. Like KJ said, I like the size. It's a good size chip. And it's got a good flavor. I like the flavor. Which is honestly not very much flavor, if I'm being true.
It's
If I'm
true.
being truly
It's
honest.
pretty subtle.
Not a ton of flavor, but it's something that I could eat. Something that I could eat consistently. 4 stars.
I wish I knew what this Korean meant though. Janchi. I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know either. Never did. And never will. All right. Well,
Octopuses. No.
this is a good chat on our actual 2-year anniversary. Good chat. Even though this is coming out in 6 days, so not actually the anniversary, but right now when we're recording it, it is. And I'm going to leave all this in so everybody knows that when we're recording this, it is our actual 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, and when you say congratulations, you're late.
You're late. How dare you not know?
But we still appreciate it.
How dare you not know?
Well, if they follow our Instagram,
and where is that at?
Janchi Show at all Instagram platforms.
How many Instagram platforms are there?
I'm talking Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, WeChat, WhatsApp, Messenger,
OnlyFans,
Flipboard,
Oh, you went
Pinterest,
there.
Reddit, Zanga, MySpace, AOL
Cowabunga.
Instant Messenger. I don't know. Ask Jeeves
on the
for
dark
more.
web.
We're gonna have
Oh,
our
that was
own
fun.
Janchi coin
And the light web. We're not going to
and the light web.
And the light web, yeah. On the blockchain. Find us.
And the chain block. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, you can find us in all those places, minus about all of them. You can also send us an email. Where do they do that at, Nathan?
Janchi Show at justlikemedia.com.
That's a home run, folks. And KJ, if they want to leave us a voicemail, where can they do that at?
972-677-8867. Is that right?
Got it.
Hell yeah!
Got it. Buddy.
Crushed
He
it.
also gets a
Give
home
me
run.
thunderous applause.
I'll give you some more chips.
Nobody cares.
I cared. I like that you got it. I had to stare at it to make sure you got it right, but you did. So again, we are the Janchi Show, and you can find us individually on various social media platforms. You can find me at Patrick in the World. You can find KJ at KJ Relke, and you can find Nathan at N Nowak, and all the places that we want to be found, and some places that we don't want to be found. You won't find us. But until next time, we have been the Janchi Boys, and we will see you. Hey-oh!
Janchi Hill!
I forgot the Janchi